Welcome back everyone to another Weather Glance video. In today's video we will be covering the official hurricane season forecast for the hurricane season of 2021, all coming up in just a bit. Alright, and on our first slide you can see that we have a lot of convective available potential energy in the atmosphere in the central western coast of Africa, and this is going to be helping our main development region, as you saw in the thumbnail, for hurricane development. And this is where that region is going to be located because the shear is ironically located right where all this energy is and where all this moisture is. So this is going to be our main development region, and this is where a lot of that hurricane development is going to be happening, with those cumulonimbus towers getting caught up in those low pressure systems with lots of rotation and vorticity. So this is going to be helping with all of that hurricane development and significantly developing those storms as they move through the Atlantic. Okay, and as we move on to our 850 millibar temperature anomaly in degrees Celsius, you can see that we have mostly average temperatures, and this is not going to alter our above average hurricane season that we're forecasting, but this is going to help with that instability, as we're going to have above average temperatures in the mid levels of the atmosphere, but slightly normal temperatures in the lower levels of the atmosphere, as you can see here on this slide at the 850 millibar level, which is about 2,000 feet up in the atmosphere. Okay, and as we move on to our 500 millibar temperature anomaly, you can see that we have widespread above average temperatures that are kind of consistent on the western coast of Africa, and even down into the central western coast of Africa, which we are seeing that development. And this is showing you how we have many low pressure systems developing off into that area with those different temperature instability. So this is really going to be helping with those storms, and it's going to be fueling these storms throughout the hurricane season as they move in throughout the Atlantic. And there's going to be a lot of warm moist air in this main development region for that to feed off of. So these temperature instabilities are really helping to fuel these storms, and they're going to help them develop within the next couple of weeks or so, as we are seeing in many different forecast updates. Okay, and now we're going to be taking a look at our precipitable water, which is how much precipitable water is in the atmosphere. This is how much precipitation is able to be convected into the atmosphere, and you can see that we have up to 2 to 3 inches of available precipitation to be convected into the atmosphere, and this is showing a lot of moisture, with dew points even into the 70s, into the 80s around here in these regions, which is going to be helping with a lot of precipitation off of the central western coast of Africa to fuel these cumulonimbus storms, and then they will get caught up in these low pressure systems and further develop into these tropical storms and hurricanes that we are seeing develop within the next couple of weeks here. So not too much time to act. We better start getting prepared for those Gulf and Atlantic hurricane season, as it is starting to seem to fire up already. Okay, now we're looking at our 2-meter AGL dew point, and you can see that we have widespread dew points in the 70s and even in the 80s at some points in the central western coast of Africa. So here is where the dry air is going to meet the warm moist air, and this is going to further increase that instability, and this is going to help with those cumulonimbus towers to form and then get caught up in those low pressure systems, which will further strengthen into those tropical storms and hurricanes that we will see later on. So this dry air converging with this warm moist air, as you can see here, is really going to help with this instability, as well as the vorticity and shearing that we will talk about later in the video. That is all going to be available here. So you can see that all the storms are going to have plenty of food and energy to be feeding off of, and all of these factors are coming together so perfectly. So this is showing an above average hurricane season possible this hurricane season. Okay, now we are looking at our 2-meter AGL temperature in degrees Celsius, and you can see widespread 100 degrees Fahrenheit up there in the northern parts of Africa, and this is where that dry, hot air is going to be meeting that warm, moist air, which we can see the warm, moist air is about in the 70s and 80 degree Fahrenheit range, and when these two converge, this is going to cause a major unstable atmosphere and plenty of energy for these storms and convective bubbles to form, and then with that vorticity, we're going to see major storm development into hurricanes. All right, on our final slide, you can see that we have plenty of vorticity when these low pressure systems come through and when they develop. And you can see as they move through that warm, moist part of our main development region, that's where they're really going to flourish, and they're going to develop into those tropical storms and hurricanes, which will inevitably cause this hurricane season to be highly rapidly intensifying throughout the next couple of weeks, because you can see those storms already starting to fire up by the end of June, which they can start to see significant development with all of these warm, moist temperatures and conditions. So make sure that you are prepared, because we're already starting to see that main development region start to fire up with all of these storms. So Africa is pretty much throwing all that it has at us with these storms, and it's only going to be starting up within the next week or so. So make sure that you are prepared, and you are following some sort of meteorological website or news station, so that you are always weather aware when these storms are coming towards your locations. Alright, I want to thank you all for watching today's video. A big thanks to today's sources, Pivotal Weather, where all the forecast models seen in today's video come from, and I would ask you consider subscribing for more US forecasts free of charge, and also considering to follow the Weather at a Glance Facebook page for more insight information and complimentary personal forecasts when you message me on my Weather at a Glance Facebook page. Again, I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.